Whether you operate one forklift or thousands, one location or hundreds, the new My Toyota customer portal can help you optimize your operation and material handling equipment. This one-stop, free-to-use platform is designed to help you take control of your information and make smarter decisions, all at the touch of a button. Register and access your data today at my.toyotaforklift.com. That's my.toyotaforklift.com.
With e-commerce off the charts, many small and growing warehouses are asking, how can I get ahead when my warehouse is barely keeping up? The answer is future-ready warehouse tech from Zebra Technologies. Warehouses can simplify and upgrade all processes, from automated inventory management to hands-free picking, with Zebra's tailored, scalable mobile solutions. They're simple and intuitive. There's never been a better time to upgrade for success with Zebra. How can your warehouse get ahead? The answer's in black and white. Get the answers at zebra.com/theanswer. That's zebra.com/theanswer. Businesses are retooling fulfillment operations, from warehouses to omnichannel, to meet new demand amid unprecedented labor shortages. 3PLs, retailers, B2B distributors, and others are turning to flexible fulfillment solutions like 6 River Systems to adapt and scale. 6 River Systems Fulfillment Execution System is an integrated solution that combines intelligent, cloud-based software and automation, including its autonomous mobile robot, AMR, Chuck. No costly or disruptive infrastructure changes, fast and easy associate training, and integrations with other warehouse execution solutions allow operations to meet labor challenges, increase efficiency, and enhance customer engagement. Go to www.6river.com to learn more. Go to www.6river.com to learn more.
The New Warehouse Podcast, hosted by Kevin Lawton, is your source for insights and ideas from the distribution, transportation, and logistics industry. A new episode every Monday morning brings you the latest from industry experts and thought leaders. And now, here's Kevin.
Hey, it's Kevin Lawton with the New Warehouse Podcast here at MODEX 2022. I am in the booth, joined by Harold Vanasse of Enersys, longtime guest of the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back.
Yes. Early guest as well, way back at ProMat 2019, and now we're here at MODEX 2022 in person, and it feels good. So how's the MODEX going for you, Harold?
Actually, it's Kevin, it's great to actually first see you in person.
Yes,
because we've done some stuff, but not in person. Yeah. It's great to be back in an in-person show. Mm-hmm. Attendance has been great. Yeah. We're really happy. I think everybody's just ecstatic to be together after 2 years, because it was 2 years ago that show that we were winding down.
Yeah. It was like the week before everything shut down. Yeah. It was it's interesting timing. It certainly makes this, I think, much more momentous, I guess.
It does,
sense,
yeah.
Right?
Everybody's, I think, got this just sort of happy feeling about being together. And there was a lot of the buzz and excitement prior to the show about that, and we're seeing it here. So it's just been it's been a very busy show, which has been great.
Yeah, definitely. Busy right now is a great thing. And our industry certainly have been busy as well, which has been, I guess, a little more quarantined in a sense, right? So now we're coming out.
Yeah, we're coming out, but then, we've got supply chain and inflation, and it seems like just one thing after another, but that's the world today.
Yeah. But, the industry we're in, we figure it out, right? So
we always do. And, it's the cool part about being in an essential industry is nothing gets to us as consumers. Yeah. That doesn't come through our industry. At some point, everyone here in this, exhibition hall has a part to play in that, and it's cool to see it. So we just we look at it from the power side, right? But it has to fit into a fork truck, and it has to be moved on a conveyor, and all this automation that you see here. It's just amazing to think about it. So it's a resilient industry. It's a fun industry. I've loved my 25 and a half years in it.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And it's certainly great to get together and all these different things. Now, let's talk a little bit about Enersys, right? So for people that maybe are not familiar, let's get the brief overview of Enersys.
Sure, I'll do my standard. We're the world's largest industrial battery supplier, so power supplier. We make industrial batteries, so that's fork trucks, floor care equipment, ground support equipment, rail batteries, AGV batteries, anything like that that's going to move move a vehicle, we have a power source for it, especially in the industrial space as well, or material handling space. We also do chargers to go along with those, and we do management systems to help manage all that and collect data off of the batteries and help customers right-size the fleet. In other words, what's the right product for me? How much power do I need? What's my best total cost of ownership? So that's the world we're in. We're the power providers for many of the vehicles that you see used in the material handling and industrial world. We also have a large division that's in telecommunications, what we call our energy systems group. So data centers, communication, anything like that, cable television. So the power that's behind all of our sort of data infrastructure world, we do that. We also have aerospace and defense industry, a medical industry. So it's a lot of batteries. It's not personal consumer batteries. It's all industrial type products.
Right, exactly.
So that's us in a nutshell.
Yes, and a very wide range of product portfolio, obviously, and focused on the material handling industry. A lot of discussion has been going on, and you've been involved in some of the discussions we've had on the podcast as well with other companies and all those different things. And a lot of the conversation is around the power sources, and obviously we look at our own consumer lives as well. Gas is getting up there, right? So we're looking at all different kinds of alternative ways to get power. So talk to us a little bit about where are we in that sense in the material handling industry.
So it's still primarily a flooded lead acid product. So that's the product that's been around for 80 years. Typical conventional. You'll charge it either in a conventional or a fast charge sense, which is fast opportunity charge, which was the latest innovation on the flooded side. But you're still adding water to that battery once a week to replace what you've lost as you've charged it. There's still some other maintenance requirements. And what we're seeing and what we have been seeing is this very strong push to what we call a maintenance-free product, which means I don't have to water it, I don't have to wash it, I don't have to change it, I don't have to make sure my electrolyte levels are good and proper specific gravity. I don't really have to do much with the battery. It just does what it needs to do for the vehicle. You just got to make sure you charge it. We've been watching that, and that gets stronger and stronger and stronger every year. Because again, it's as we're getting into a world where labor is harder to get. Those processes are manual. They require people, so it's a non-value add to the core business of our customers. It's a necessity. You have to do it if you have those technologies. But as we get to the flooded world, if we get to the maintenance-free world, well, that goes away and lets customers focus on moving goods or building things, and the battery will just supply that power. So we're watching that trend continue, and it's going to continue. Flooded lead acid is still the predominant in this world, but we're seeing a strong push. Now the question then becomes, what does that technology look like? For Enersys, we have two players in that field. We have a thin plate pure lead product, which is an advanced lead acid, and we also have a lithium ion product, and you're seeing a lot more lithium ion coming in. There's also fuel cell out there as well, and that's been in the market for a bit too. So again, it would fall into that non-flooded lead acid product as we move towards more of a maintenance-free. Fuel cell is not necessarily maintenance-free because there's things you have to do to the fuel cells. But if you're looking at more of a thin plate pure lead and a lithium ion product, they're more what we would consider maintenance-free. There's very little that you have to do to them other than make sure you charge them properly. It's the one thing you still got to do. You got to add gas to your car. No matter what, you got to charge the battery. You got to put some juice back into it. So that's what we're doing.
Absolutely. So obviously, you guys are covering all the emerging as well as the existing technologies in the power space. And as we're here at MODEX, and obviously we're talking about the attendance. There's a lot of attendees, right? So as people are coming to your booth and they're interested in figuring out what power sources do they want to use going forward, or what's the right one for them? What are you seeing in that sense? What are they asking?
That's the question that they're asking. So there's two things they'll come in, and it's you hit it wrong. Of course, you're in that world. Right? You're a customer. The thing they're looking at is, okay, look, I've heard about this. Doing the maintenance is a challenge. Adding water is a challenge. We get that. So they come in and they want to know more about, well, what are their options? How do I know what's right for me? Because that you'll hear the buzz around lithium, and it's the exciting new product, right? New technology, and we all have lithium batteries in our personal world. So then they'll come in and they'll talk about that, and then they've also heard about our thin plate pure lead products, our Nexus Pure product, and they've heard a little bit about that, but they don't know what the right decision is. So really, we try to guide that conversation, which is, look, really, for us at Enersys, knowing the details of those two technologies, we're not just going to make a blind decision. So we'll run them through some software that we have called Insight. And that's really where every conversation begins with us, with the customer. Because we want to sit down and we want to understand what the need is, what the power need is, what the growth plans are, how likely are your folks to charge a battery at a specific time. And we have some very nice software that we've developed. It's very sophisticated. It's a modeling program where we can either do a power study of a facility and actually work with real data that we've collected from your truck to see what your power profile looks like, how much you're using at a specific time on a given day, and do that over a couple of weeks. Or we can sit down and talk to you. Hey, Kevin, tell me a little bit about, we know the trucks you have, right? So we know what the draw is. What kind of shifts are you looking at? What kind of work are you doing? What kind of brakes do you do? What's your typical, heavy dutiness? We can put some measures around that. We can ask you what your growth plans are. You see yourself staying stable, shrinking, or growing over the next few years, because you want to factor that in. Plug all that in, and we'll compare the different flooded, thin plate pure lead, or lithium ion, and it'll give us some math. We'll even take a look at, let's size the battery and let's put a charger with it, because we can give you a bigger, higher power charger or a smaller power charger, because a lot of times what you'll find is when you're dealing with a customer, so you may not have that many opportunities to charge. Or you do, and the challenge is getting your folks to charge. But if you've conquered those things, now the question is, how much power do you put into the battery to recharge it? And with both lithium and thin plate pure lead, they love to be charged. They like to be fast charged. So really the thing you want to do is get as much power back into that battery, recharge that battery as fast as you can to keep it going on the floor. So it reduces maybe the need. Let me put it this way: it gives you a longer runtime. So we talk a lot about that. Now it's easy for me to say that stuff, but when we sit down and we look at it, it gets a little complicated when you want to go spell it out. So this software helps us do that graphically, so we can walk you through and say, okay, look, if we made these series of choices, here's what it looks like in your facility. Oh, you won't make it through the day. You won't get to the end of the shift. Okay, so then we got to go back. So that's really where we have a big display. We walk people through that because it can be challenging. We want to help you make that decision with some data to walk through, and then come back and say, okay, you know what, I can probably do a mix of technologies. Light duty class 3, I'll put thin plate pure lead. Heavy duty class 1, I'll put lithium. And then depending on what you're doing in some of the light to medium duty ranges, we may want to look at, again, what your facility is like. So we'll come and take a hybrid approach. But clearly the questions are, one, I'm very interested in maintenance free. I want to talk, heard about lithium, but what's right for me, and how do I know what's right for me? That is 75% of what we're getting asked.
Yeah, very interesting, because I think there is a lot of question up in the air of what is the right one.
And there's no one answer. Like if you take 10 people with 10 different facilities with 10 different use profiles, there's probably 10 different solutions. So that's why we've said, look, let's have all of them available, and let's put some software and some effort behind that. And that's really we've put a lot of effort, and we're continuing to put effort into development of that Insight product, Insight software package, to help us do that, because we get it. We get it's confusing. We get there's a lot of math involved, but you've got to do that if you want to get the best total cost of ownership, and you want to be competent in what you do. So that's what we look at.
Yeah, and I think the fact that you guys have that platform and you keep investing into that platform and developing it is really a great resource for a customer to be able to utilize and visualize as well.
You have to. It's a lot going on.
You tell them, tell somebody to do math, they may panic a little bit, right? So.
It is, and we get it. Like, hey, we're the battery experts, battery and charger experts. That's what we're supposed to be. You're supposed to be the expert in moving materials, or in the specific realm that you're doing it in. If you're a cold storage facility, you better be really good at that. Doesn't mean, you're probably good at refrigeration equipment. Not so much power. We can help you with that. That's the partnership. And again, we want to make it as data-driven as we can, and a chemistry, what we call a chemistry agnostic solution, which is what's best for the customer, and base it on a data.
Yeah, and I think that makes total sense. And obviously, like you said, you want to rely on the expert in the space, right? You don't want to try and become the expert yourself when your expertise is moving product, like you said. Right?
And the specifics again of that industry in your distribution center, or factory or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, MODEX as well is innovation and new stuff, right? So what's new going on at Enersys?
So our big news in the last year or so has been we got UL 2580 listing on on our lithium-ion batteries, which we're tremendously proud of, and it's a major accomplishment because it is a very difficult UL test to pass. So we did that. So we're proud of that. We actually got it about a month ago. So that's there. And as you know, I was thinking about it just being here. It's like, wow, it was 2 years ago that we actually had our last in-person show. And we sat down and talked 2 years ago, and I was thinking, it's like, well, we didn't have lithium on the market at that point. We were talking about it. We were getting ready for it.
Yeah, I think you said it was coming.
It was coming. And, so I'm looking at it. It's like, wow, everything in our booth that we're showing, and we're selling it. It's there. We've got 2580. These are all these things that we talked about, and they happen. In the midst of there, we had a pandemic, and we had supply chain disruptions and all of that sort of stuff. Which makes it a little complicated. But we got there. So for us, that's our big news, is having both of those products, or Simply Pure Lead's been out. That's out. We're about to launch a newer size of that, but we'll save that for the summer. But the big news for us is our 2580 on lithium. It's, again, an accomplishlement we're very proud of. So that's our big news.
Okay. So break that down a little bit for us, right? Because we're thinking, just like we said, we got people that are listening that are, their expertise is moving boxes, right?
It's not UL 2580. I shouldn't speak jargon.
So UL, maybe people have heard of, but give us a little, background on that. Why is that important when you're looking for maybe a battery or something of that nature? Why would that make a difference?
It's a good question. So basically, Underwriters Laboratory, or UL, is one of a few independent organizations that test products, electrical products primarily, and we'll see it at home. If you look at a lamp, it's going to have a UL label on its thing. And so basically what it does is they're looking at ways to reduce risk in products that are out there, primarily for insurance, but ways to reduce risk. So they're an independent body. They look at your design. They look at the way you manufacture it. They will test the product independently, and primarily they're looking to make sure that it is a safe from a fire sort of an electrical shock perspective. So it's a safe product. So in the industry, batteries and chargers and fork trucks are all UL listed. A lot of other stuff is as well, but for us, what we're looking at is, hey, the truck has a UL rating on it. The battery, therefore, that's going to go into that truck has to have a UL rating on it. All of the components that are made for the truck, all of the components that are used in the battery, all have to be UL rated, either listed or classified, which means they've gone through their own independent testing. So it's this cradle to grave, soup to nuts sort of approach, right? The chargers also have to be that way as well, because you're charging them in part of that process. So that means UL is looking at everything. So with lithium, there's a specific specification, or a specific section of UL, or test that we do called 2580. Just happened to be the number they put on it. It's specifically designed for lithium batteries. And it's on revision 2 right now, so it's a very stringent. You do basically the thermal propagation testing. They're looking to see what happens if you catch a cell on fire. Does it spread? They do shock and vibration testing. They do all kinds of looks at your design to see, is it designed in a up-to-spec, safe manner. So they've got engineers that are looking at that from that perspective. They're checking all of your components to make sure that they are indeed UL approved themselves. And there's a number of other tests they do. So shock and vibration testing, because they're going to literally try to shake your product apart. Now there's got some specs that it's got to meet to make sure that it holds up while it's doing that. And you might say, well, really? They get that much? Driving a fork truck around on a floor.
That's a lot of vibration,
Way more than a car.
And
that's the thing. It's like, well, these things, the car can't be. The car sits on suspension, right? Fork trucks don't. So it's a tremendous amount of that. So they'll do that sort of stuff. They'll do shock where they hit it from different axes, drop it from different positions to make sure that it's going to survive. And then again, thermal propagation testing and a bunch of other type of safety type tests. So you've got to go through all of this. You get your designs inspected. They come and look at your plan. Are you building it in a good practice? And then once you get that, you get inspected in your facility once every 3 to 4 months by UL to make sure that you're doing what you said you were going to do, and what's part and parcel of their practice. So we do that on our chargers. We do that on all of our batteries are UL. I mean, they have to be to go into a truck. Same thing's happening with the truck companies. So they're all doing that, or any other vehicles that are using batteries that will have that UL rating. It's a U.S. and Canada thing. Europe doesn't have it. They have CE over there. So it's a different specification regulatory body. So for the U.S. and Canada, it's UL. So you go through it, And it really is a sign that you've had an independent third party validating your product from a safety perspective. That's really what it's about. Because then what it is it gives those companies that are buying those products, their insurance company will look at that, and some are just doing it just from a, hey, we want to have safety within what we do, and we want an independent third party to do this validation for us, because quite frankly, we can't tell, battery A, B, C, or D from each other from that perspective, because they all look good. So it's just that sort of thing. And we have many customers that say, look, we're only going to buy a UL battery because it's got to go in our UL truck, and that's how we want to run our company. There are some customers that don't require it. Okay, we don't need it. That's fine. Most do.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's a good breakdown, definitely. And, obviously, we're asking you because you're the expert in that industry, right?
Well, I'm not a UL expert. Our engineers are. We have a group of engineers that spend an inordinate amount of time doing all this stuff. And it's expensive. It's time consuming. At the end of the day, it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. So it gives you that kind of peace of mind from the safety perspective, it sounds like.
Personally, I wouldn't buy a product like these industrial batteries or a truck or anything if it didn't have it. I think it's in the U.S., right? We're required to have it in the U.S. In Europe, it's CE. Over here, it's not. Asia Pacific, it's mostly CE as well.
Okay.
But, in the world that we're in, having someone validate these things is a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. So, Harold, I want to thank you so much for coming by the booth, as always, and talking to me. It's always great to hear about Enersys and get to connect with you as well.
And as I've said, I love the fact you do this because our industry needs it, and I think you were the first guy doing it, so I love to see that you're still here since 2019. It's absolutely fantastic.
I appreciate that. So if people want to find out more about Enersys, how can they do that?
Enersys.com, Enersys.com. It's the best place to go. It's our website. It has everything there.
All right, great. And we'll put all that information at thenewarehouse.com as well. So, Harold, thank you once again, and enjoy the rest of the show.
You've been listening to the New Warehouse Podcast with Kevin Lawton. Subscribe and check us out online at thenewwarehouse.com.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you want more content from the New Warehouse, check out our new video series called All Hands on LinkedIn. Just search for the New Warehouse on LinkedIn and follow along.